Hey everyone, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Show. And we had a special webinar. Actually, we had hundreds of people across the world join us earlier this week when my special guest was the one and only Lieutenant Colonel Waldo Waldman. He was one of my first guests on the Massimo Show when we launched this podcast months and months ago. But because of recent events, we felt we needed to bring him back. And yeah, he did us an incredible favor by sharing his insight, his guidance to help us navigate through these unprecedented times. So I really hope you enjoy the high value content we're about to share with the one and only Lieutenant Colonel Waldo Waldman. Hi, this is Rod Santomassimo, and welcome to the Massimo Show. The objective of the Massimo Show is to share how you can maximize your personal, professional margin. That's right. Let's make more money in less time. Let's turn chaos into clarity, confusion into confidence, and income into real wealth. Along with sharing my insight on how I grew a multi-million-dollar professional business, we're going to bring you the expert advice from a variety of authors, consultants, and thought leaders who will provide the tools you need to maximize your own personal and professional margin. Welcome to the Massimo Show. Hey everyone, it's Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Group. And today, I always say this, we have a special guest, but look, let's face it, we have a world-renowned personality, a world-renowned hero, a New York Times bestselling author, Wall Street Journal bestselling author, Hall of Fame speaker, and decorated fighter pilot who's flown and led many missions across the world. And I'm honored and humbled to actually say he's also a friend of mine. And with that, I'll introduce you, Lieutenant Colonel Waldo Waldman. Waldo, thanks for your time today.
Same here, Rod. Proud to be your wingman. Looking forward to today.
We're going to get into the wingman concept in a moment. I want to welcome everyone from across North America, it looks like, and a couple now look across the world joining us. Look, this is a special occasion for everyone. We understand, look, it's a challenging time. It's going to be a confusing time, but also it's a time for opportunity. And our goal today is to give you some insights, to give you some motivation. And Waldo is going to provide you some leadership on things you should be thinking of doing right now. I didn't mention, but Waldo also has an MBA, and he is a successful entrepreneur in his own right. So with that said, Waldo, this is a extremely chaotic time right now, and no doubt you're used to chaos. So before I ask you to dive into that, can you just give us a little background about who you are, where were you raised, and what makes up you?
It's a good question because I think a lot of us these days, as we deal with the turbulence and the uncertainty and doubt that's pretty prevalent in the industry today in the world, is who we are when we look ourselves in the mirror, put on our flight suit every morning and look at that person that we have to depend on to execute, to grow, to make a difference, to build a revenue in our business and our families and find what I call meaning in our mission. Who are we is going deep these days, tapping into our core. And I think in that sense, it's a blessing for this chaos that we're in because we're really recalibrating who we are. And we're not just businessmen and women. We're not just parents and friends and husbands and wives. For me, I'm a courage monger. I coined that phrase. I'm not a fear monger. I'm a courage monger. I want to give people courage to take risks and to step out of their comfort zones and be who all they can be, for lack of a better phrase. And so I wake up every single day kicking people in the butt and hugging them. And I think more than ever, we need kicks and butts and hugs, but more so some kicks and butts right now, because there's a lot of people who are paralyzed by fear because they haven't prepared for this downturn, this mission, this combat. And so when I joined the military, I was an instructor pilot for years and then became a fighter pilot, combat missions, struggled through claustrophobia, panic attacks, a lot of inner fears that I think that a lot of us can relate to right now as we go through this tough time. And then I joined the business world. I got my MBA. I'm a New Yorker, a Jew from New York, so I got to get into sales in some way. But I love motivating people. I love driving people. I love building businesses and inspiring people to be the best that they can. I'm a parent. I got a little guy, a 9-year-old. My wife's here. She's the one that made my isogenic shake and is taking care of the little guy so I could stay focused on doing my job and putting food on the table. So that's kind of a 30,000 foot view of who I am.
Well, though, fantastic. And I love that concept of being a courage monger, because right now it's tough to bring forth courage. But you also suggested yourself in that little background of you that you have dealt with issues as well, even as a fighter pilot. You talked about anxiety. Yeah. You talked about, which is shocking to most people, is that you said the word claustrophobic. And I can't think that cabin that you're sitting in, you're about to take off in your jet, can't give you much room. So how does one deal with these, I don't want to call them limitations, but are they restrictions or limitations? What are they?
By the way, I also grew up afraid of heights when I graduated the Air Force Academy. In order to graduate the Air Force Academy and go to pilot training, you had to jump off this 33 feet high diving board. And I faced my fear and jumped off that. And then 3 years into my flying career, I almost died in a scuba diving accident. And long story short, was flying around one day in bad weather, turbulence, lightning, thunderstorms, clouds, couldn't see the sun, couldn't see the ground, and then had a panic attack, similar to the panic attack that I died scuba diving just a few days prior. But instead of being 35 feet under the water, now I'm 35,000 feet in the air. And so for the next 8 years of my 11-year flying career, every single time I strapped it to my cockpit to do what I love more than anything else, which was to fly jets and be in that exciting, exhilarating, challenging environment, I had to deal with this fear and phobia that came from inside of me. Think about a 7-hour night combat mission over Iraq or Serbia, and I've done dozens of them, 65 missions in all. The missiles were one thing, but then strapping in, watching that canopy come down and being locked into this, and then having these micro panic attacks, which I basically overcame. They were always there. And that's a whole nother thing we could talk about, how your courage, your teamwork, your fitness and mindset helps you break the sound barrier, break the fear barrier, and stay present. Every time I strapped it to that jet to fly, it was like a little mini war zone for me. And I had to overcome myself and stay present. And there's plenty of people here, I think all of us, things are going great, business is good, the winds are low, it's clear out, it's sunny, shiny, no turbulence. And then boom, this missile comes, the lightning strikes, the clouds appear, and you have a panic attack. Something goes on in your business. We've had COVID-19, which is basically combat. It's not a missile, but it's different. And we're in World War III right now. Don't kid yourself. This is World War III because everyone is impacted, everyone. And it is life and death for some of us. And so I had to do whatever I could to stay in that cockpit and stay present and focused and earn these wings, which are on my chest. There's a reason why I wore this flight suit today, not just to exasperate the fact that I'm a fighter pilot, but when I put this damn uniform on and I wear this flag with pride, it gives meaning to my mission. I'm going to battle today. I've got a job to do. I've got my son who's 9 years old. I want to put him through school and maybe pay for his wedding. I've got people I want to serve. And so when I put this flight suit on and fly, just as I did on those 7-hour night combat missions, doing my job, earning my wings, the fact that I'm a fighter pilot who rose his right hand to serve, it gets me in the zone. And we have to be more responsible than ever for the fact that we have families and customers who are depending on us. And when you think about who's depending on you, this is so important. Who's depending on you? When I was flying, those wingmen who were walking on that flight line with me, scared to death, crapping in their pants just like I was, they were saying to themselves, and I was saying to them, can I depend on you, bro, sis? When we go fly, will you do the job? Will you have my back? Will you check my six, my blind spots? Can I depend on you? And then, can they depend on me? And when we focus on others, we focus on service. That's where excellence comes. That's where we're like, hey, man, somebody needs me. My kid needs me. I'm no longer focused on my anxiety and fear and panic. I'm no longer focused on that 33 feet high diving board. I'm not focused on fear. I'm focused on service, which inspires courage, builds our capabilities and our confidence. And that's where we're at today. And it's a journey and it's not easy, but we have to earn those wings every day.
Wow. Fantastic. Absolutely incredible. So much to peel back and what you just share with us. But there are some people, look, I love that. Look, the analogy is crude or not. You're getting on that jet. You're going out on a mission. Look, people are crapping on their pants. They're thinking, this is frightening. And right now there are people sitting at home more concerned about the May 1st bills, and that's paralyzing them.
Yes. Versus
doing something about it. So any thoughts, any advice, any insight for those that still are, I understand, they still are, they're scared, they're paralyzed.
Yeah, so going to war, when you think about the chaos and uncertainty there, we never knew when that war was going to end in Iraq and Kosovo, and same thing in Afghanistan. That folks that are over there literally right now and in Iraq and the parts of the world that we have no idea of, wondering when they're going to be home to hug their wives and husbands and kids. And so it was a stark reality. And so you can't change what's going on today. We are at war. We've got COVID-19. Hopefully, we've got smart people working on a solution. We've got a lot of combat veterans in the field helping us refuel, find out where the threats are, protecting us, protecting the border. We've got a whole army of people, an Air Force and Marines all across the world helping us. But the fact is this, we are at war today. We're not in winning mode. We're in survival mode. And that sucks. We are in survival mode, which is a lot better than dying mode. And survival is when you're focused on the threat, and winning is when you're focused on the target. And so many of us are focused on the threat of this COVID virus, and it's paralyzing our ability. We're focused on those fears, and it's normal. Guess what? Get focused on it for 5 minutes during the day. Get focused on it, punch a proverbial wall, call somebody up, complain to your husband, wife, kids, friends, and then just put it behind you and say, now I've got this flight suit on. I am the flight lead of my aircraft, of my day, of my squadron. I've got people who need me. I've got customers who need me. I've got to go out and create value. I've got to go out and execute. And this is what top guns do. This is what I call aces do. These are what winners do. And so you have to transition from survival mode to winning mode. Don't get distracted by that. It's reality. It's there. But now you got to say, how do I win today? And winning is going to be different for all of us right now. Winning may just be, I just need to get up and maintain my business where it's at, or cut costs and maybe just make enough to pay the bills, plug some gaps in my business, which some of us lack fiscal discipline and have some poor spending habits. Guess what? You got to regroup your maintenance of your squadron, of your jet, in order to be successful these days. That's a whole other story as well. But find out where you got some leaks in your aircraft, where the fuel's leaking out, plug up those holes, and start doing a total maintenance on your business. Put the jet in the hangar and tighten down those rivets. When jets aren't flying, we put them in the hangar and provide some maintenance. So one of the things that we can do is we deal with this mode of panic is saying, okay, I'm not going to be making money today, perhaps. What thing can I focus on where I can create a win, which may mean going into your finances, which may mean cleaning up your business, finding out some of those areas where there's challenges. Like I said, jets going to the hangar. We got to refuel and retool our jet. Maybe now's the time to look at your marketing materials and your value proposition. Maybe you were a little off track. Are you listening and having your radar sweeping to what's going out there in the environment and your client base to say, how can I shift my business model perhaps, maybe not give 180 degrees, but maybe tweak it a little bit so that I can provide the value to the people who are calling out to help for me. So the environment shifted and you have to adapt and regroup. And that's why getting coaching from guys like you, that's why investing your time, and I congratulate those folks who invested their time to say to themselves today, there's something on this call that I may need to hear that would shift my perspective, get me into winning mode, and have those wins and readjust my flight plan. So I'm not sitting here paralyzed and stagnant with my jet in the hangar. I need to be in the air flying, not looking cool in my flight suit, paralyzed by fear and doubt.
Look, folks, a couple of things. Number one, if you have questions for Waldo, put in the Q&A box. Number two, welcome Keith from Nottingham, United Kingdom. We really appreciate you signing in today and joining Waldo from across the globe. If you haven't noticed, I'm taking notes, feverish notes. And I've known Waldo for several years now, and he's been to my house. So we know each other well, but I'm always learning from the man. That's why I loved so much, always learning. And he's giving us so much. Think about what he said here, guys. If you're focusing on survival mode, you're focusing on the threat. Just think about that. Just think about what he's saying to you. But if you're in winning mode, you're focusing on the target. And I love the fact that Waldo, you said, let's define just every day what's a win. And not be big wins, have a win, which is incredible. So, Waldo, you pumped me up as always. Talk about how to build some wins. And you mentioned some things early on in this conversation. And again, everyone have questions, go ahead and ask them. You talk about teamwork. And of course, you wrote the book on teamwork, really, and it's called Never Fly Solo. And I was actually going to bring my book and show it to everyone. It's behind you. It's a New York Times best-selling book. My godson, who's a pilot for the Naval Academy, sorry, I don't mean to set you there, for the Naval Academy, I gave him the book as a gift and said, look, you need to read this. This is motivation for you and it's important. But let's talk about teamwork. If you can expand on teamwork right now, and you mentioned it earlier, do my wingmen have my six? A wingman is a big concept with you. So expand on that teamwork, wingman.
Okay. All right. So I want to shift some context here. So remember, the most important wingman or wingmam is yourself. Make no doubt about the fact that if you look yourself in the mirror and put on that flight suit and don't trust that person staring back at you, if you're not willing to push up the throttle and execute and commit yourself to excellence and do the hard work despite the fear and doubt, if you're not fully accountable for your results, guess what? You are going to be a detriment to yourself and to your team. So I always start with yourself, that what I call that inner wingman or wingman. And so today, I always have to say, what's the first sale? What is the first sale of the day? It's got to be who you are. Who you influencing? Influencing yourself to get your butt out of bed early, influencing yourself to hit the gym, to come up with a plan, to stay disciplined today and saying, what do I need to do to execute and get out of that danger zone of focusing on fear and missiles and say, what is my plan today? And fighter pilots are successful and competent because we plan maniacally, detailed. We sweat before. We have the saying in the military, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in battle. The fighter pilots are competent because we train and prepare to leverage technologies, which are changing today. I mean, look at what we're doing today with Zoom, connecting. And by the way, if you don't feel a connection with me right now, I'm looking at a camera, I'm looking at you on a screen. You could feel my energy. I love what I do. I'm connected spiritually, energetically to everybody listening to this. And not to get woo-woo, but this is a new paradigm. You could be sitting in your office engaged, kicking butt, thinking of new things to do, creating new paradigms in your life. You don't need to be at a meeting. I'm a speaker, but I'm a thought leader before a speaker. I'm a courage monger before a speaker. And we can use this conduit, this medium of communication more than ever. Or on the phone if you have to. People feel your energy and your voice. So don't think because you can't do a face-to-face meeting that you can't sell, you can't influence. But fortunately, you're in front of yourself every day, so you've got to make the first sale to you. Influence yourself, take the action despite the headwinds and turbulence and things that paralyze you and say, okay, what am I going to do? I talked about working out this morning. I have my green smoothie. I'm drinking my isogenic steak. I read something spiritual. I got my mindset to develop my skill set. And then what develops is what I now call the heart set. And this is where people are losing the vector and the passion, the heart set. You can have the skills and the mindset, but if your passion and heart isn't in it, if you're not selling yourself, convincing that wingman or wingman staring at you every day, you are in trouble, my friend. You've got to do the work and sell yourself. Jim Rohn, the famous philosopher, says, work harder on yourself than you do on the job. So every morning I'm saying, what do I do? What can I do for me? So when it comes to mission time, and this is a mission for me, I could be in the zone. I could be prepared, giving my gift, not flying by the seat of my pants. So you got to ask yourself, what can I do today to sell myself, be it my health and fitness, the value proposition of my website? What work am I going to do? What can I check off my flight list, my checklist, to get that confidence and sell myself so that I can sell others with my value? And we'll get into teamwork here, but hardest sale is yourself.
I love it. We're not going to stop you. So when it comes to team, number one, yourself. I love that heart set, mindset, skill set, heart set. So continue this team approach, the wingman approach, please.
So now you've worked on yourself. We talked about overcoming your fears, staying in the zone, distracting yourself with helping others is another way you can get more focused and present, right? Who are you fighting for? Who needs you? Distract yourself from this crazy mind of ours, and that'll get you avoiding the fear. I mean, any mother or father in this room who's got a little son or daughter or somebody they love, if you could picture them as little kids and you may be afraid of heights, I always use this analogy. If you're looking down a diving board and you're afraid of heights, jumping 30 feet, you're probably not going to do it. But if you see your son or daughter, somebody that you love in that water, screaming, "Mommy, Daddy, help me," you're jumping. Because when you focus on what you love, when you focus on service, nothing else matters. And so it's hard today, but almost easier today to focus on what you love and what gives meaning to your mission, your kids, your family, maybe your customers. If you're in healthcare, when you're in the coaching business, real estate coaching business, people are struggling, distract yourself. And that's what I try to do right now. I'm distracting myself. I'm trying to be eloquent or charismatic or whatever, and saying those names are on the side of that chat box. And the people that invested, my wingmen, my peers, America, the world, I got to get focused on them. What can I say? Even if it means pissing them off, to distract them from themselves, to deliver. Okay. So let's move on from that inner wingman or wingman to the team. I talked about training and preparation as well. Leveraging new tools and skill sets, getting uncomfortable, finding out what's working in this new cockpit, this new environment that we're flying with. Using Zoom, leveraging other types of social media, whatever it is, you got to get uncomfortable. Now it's like, okay, I've got people that are depending on me, but also who can I go to for help? You see, your confidence in yourself and in others is a byproduct of your courage that's enabling you to take off your mask, put aside your ego, and ask someone for help. And this is very difficult for people to do, especially fighter pilots and high energy type A leaders and entrepreneurs and businessmen and women, which are likely on this call, to be able to ask for help and humble themselves. And I think in a fighter squadron, amidst the chaos, our culture of mutual support, knowing that people had our back, they were going to call out the threat for us and tell us if we were leaking fuel or on fire. We need people in our life who we could call on for help and be open to being coachable and approachable in our lives to get that new paradigm of success. So teamwork happens when you can ask for help and you build relationships with people, with your wingmen, trusted partners. Not everybody can be a wingman, by the way, and say, who do I know? Who are the Rod Santomassimos or the Waldo Waldman who can provide that help? And you have to build those relationships before you need them. You got to build those relationships.
You're talking about new technology.
But this is a good point. Contingency planning. I didn't contingency plan and shut off this phone. So that's a missile launch. But anyway, I'll know what to do next time. So here's the big picture. Be willing to go to others for help where you have a blind spot, a weakness, and say, who do I know in my quote unquote Rolodex? Who have I built relationships with? Who have I planted seeds with over the years so that when those missiles and turbulence come, when I'm in combat right now, I've got a host of men and women who I can call on to give me insights and perspective and for feedback, maybe once again to kick me in the butt and maybe to hug me, because some folks that are on your team may be there for you to give you that inspiration, that hug, that believe in you. Maybe you just need somebody to just cry on, so to speak, who sees the best in you and can lift you up rather than drag you down. And this is important right now because I think on social media, when we look at our relationships, the people that are texting us on our phone, that are checking in with us, making sure we're okay, we're starting to figure out who those trusted partners are more than ever. And the baloney artists, the ones who really aren't there for us, the ones checking in on you. And we need to surround ourselves with those lifters and be the lifter ourselves rather than the dragger, and also jettison the things that are weighing us down on our aircraft, on ourselves, on our business and life, and start negating those influences and pushing them away from you in your life. And we see it more than ever. Like I said, look at the people on social media. Look at the people who are inspiring, who are taking action, emulating excellence every single day, creating a context of success and courage and accountability, and the folks that are deteriorating that core value of hope and courage that we need more than ever. Do an inventory on your wingmen and start jettisoning those folks. Just because they were buddies with you or partners last year doesn't mean they should be in your squadron today. So jettison. Maybe it's time for some hardcore conversations. And then I'm going to share one more point with this, and then we'll move on with something else here. But there are also people in your life, business partners, associates, maybe the people that you're coaching, maybe your family members who may be paralyzed by fear and in the dark right now. They don't want to call. They're afraid to ask for help. You may assume, hey, just because they're not calling or reaching out to me, they're fine. Oh, it's Joe Johnson or Sabrina Miller. She's always on top of her game. She's kicking butt. He doesn't need me, but maybe they do. Maybe that person who you love and care about that you may be taking for granted needs you to pick up that phone and check in on them. Send them a text, give them a message, let them know that they're on your radar. And you may be the person that can help them as they deal perhaps with some financial issues, some suicide, depression. You don't know who's flying with a broken wing these days or in the dungeon of their life. And so this meaning to the mission, this purpose orientation, this value proposition spans beyond the income. It goes to the heart set once again. And by doing this, I think you create a paradigm in your life of others to come to you for help and to lift you up. And finally, if you don't have enough people on your wing right now to call for help, you're kind of looking at your Rolodex, so to speak, and there's a little deficit here. That's not an easy reality. And you need to reassess what you're doing to nurture those relationships, because some people haven't dug the well before they needed it. They haven't put in the time to serve, to give when their business was good and their health was great. And now the proverbial crap's hitting the fan and the missiles are coming. They're like, I don't have enough folks, because you perhaps didn't invest enough time to serve, to give courage and hope to those people. But next time you will. This is where we need to think. You may not have them now, but you're like, okay, I'm going to start serving and giving and loving more than ever right now, and building that team of wingmen behind the scenes who aren't writing a check to me, to my wallet, but they're writing checks to my heart, inspiring me. And I'm going to do the same for them. And so think about that. Start investing that time in nurturing those solidifying wingman relationships, trusted partner relationships for folks who are going to have your back and help keep you airborne longer to do your job. And don't let your deficit hold you back from nurturing those relationships today.
I love it so much. So, although I know you well, I've read all your books, I read your blogs. So you have this concept is who you are. And you always say, push it up. So Can you expand on that? Just what's the mindset, the theory? What does that mean?
Okay, this is important, folks. So when I was in the 35th Fighter Squadron, remote tour duty in South Korea, and by the way, I'm sure there are some veterans listening to this and watching this right now. Thank you for your service, and for the wing moms and wing dads who have sons or daughters who are in right now. Thank you as well for your service. Before we flew in our squadron, we had a call to action. And it was a symbol and a phrase. Basically, we give each other the hang loose sign, which was symbolic of the eyes of the Black Panther, our squadron mascot. The motto was first to fight. That was our squadron. Remote tour duty in South Korea. So we give each other the hang loose sign and we yell out, push it up, which was what we did in the aircraft when we flew. When we were going to full power, when we were executing the plan, we were committing on the enemy, saying commit. We said, push it up, go to full power, 30,000 pounds of thrust out the back of that aircraft. It was time to commit and execute. So that call to action, push it up, was a call for execution, was a call of excellence, was it a call of responsibility saying, hey, it's go time, folks. We got to earn these wings and do our damn job. Push it up. And if you're not willing to push it up and you're pulling it back, go back to the hangar. You're not ready to be a fighter pilot. And I think the hardest thing in life for us to do, in particular today, when we know we're taking off into the dragon's mouth, right, into combat, and where the threats are real, the hardest thing is to resist the temptation to ease up on the throttle instead of pushing it up, even though we know folks are dependent on us. And so you've got to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, am I willing to push it up? Is my team willing to push it up? Am I ready to go to battle and go to full power and emulate excellence and set the tone of the day for myself and for my team? So push it up just got me in the game. It got the team in the game. And that attitude and motivation is so contagious more than ever. And so we used it all the time. And I would challenge you perhaps to use that phrase. If you Google push it up, it's common. Go to full power, release the brakes as well, and then take off. Because when you set the tone, others will follow. And as General George Patton once said, you're always on parade. Everything you do, everything you say, your team, your peers are watching you now. How are you responding to this? Are you pushing it up or pulling it back? And when you think about that, you're like, I'm a leader, I'm a coach, I'm an entrepreneur. If I'm not going to do it, how can I expect my wingmen or my customers to believe in me and trust me to take care of them?
Waldo, you had mentioned earlier, and I wrote it down because I said, wow, I didn't ever thought of it in that respect. You talk about this concept that if you have confidence and you have courage, in fact, you're confident enough or courageous enough to ask for help. How I read it?
Yeah.
I understood it. So we do have some courageous and confident people in our audience who are asking for help. So I'm going to share some questions with you, and then I'm going to ask you to address some of these. And again, if you all have questions, great time to ask them. You're not really going to get too many chances to ask Waldo Waldman questions just because when the pandemic's not here, we all had another cartoon, Where's Waldo? We all laugh about that. But amongst his friends, we all say, where's Waldo? Because he could be anywhere in the world. We just don't know where he is. He's giving a speech to some Fortune 500 conglomerate. So take advantage of this opportunity. And this is probably true for a lot of folks. Look, Waldo, I find that by default, I'm doing research, I'm doing reading, I'm just not picking up the phone because I'm frightened to. I know everyone's going through a hard time. Convince me how I could get over that reluctance, that fear, and make those calls.
So I would start with your past clients, people who you have great relationships with, that you've served, that believe in you, that you've conquered, that just will sing your praises more than ever. And just connect with them, talk to them, ask them how they're doing, and then potentially offer your help. I would not recommend saying, hey, how can I help you? I hear that a lot. I'm sure we all hear, hey, let me know how I can help you. I'm like, I got a list of 100 things. And if you can pick me up some good chicken wings at my favorite wing place down the street, I'd appreciate that. And a foot rub would be nice. I mean, there's so many things that we want. Give them an idea too of how you can help them. Listen, hey, I saw something on you had a press release out on a new product that you launched. Can I maybe tweet that or link it in or share with my list? Hey, you just brought on a new employee. Offer a 30-minute coaching session or whatever it is that you do. Give them a specific item or two of some value that you can provide that's detailed, that's definable, that will say, interesting, I like that. They may say yes or no, but start with the sale with service, with people that trust you. And then you may ask them, listen, you know what I do, Joanne or Mike? It's been great working with you over the years. Listen, if you see an opportunity in this niche or whatever, ask them to help you. Hey, I'm coaching somebody from Siemens right now. I do executive coaching for business leaders who are transitioning to more senior management roles. I do some sales coaching as well. I said, hey, listen, Josh, can you do me a favor? And Siemens is one of my biggest clients. As you're out there, I did a webinar like this for him. I didn't charge him anything. And I appreciate the $25,000 fee you're paying me for this, Brad. That's really nice of you. I'm joking. But I did a program for him and he appreciated it. I said, look, can you share the love? Talk to some of the other Siemens executives who know of me and maybe let them know I could do this with a Zoom webinar with them. So you got to do quid pro quo. But then also this, you probably have so many people you can call. It's easy to get overwhelmed. And where do you start? So start with the folks that love you, that know you, that respect you, that have felt your value proposition and you deliver it to them. And then say, I'm just going to make a list of 2 or 3 people today. Just 2 or 3, small. Make the list the day before, by the way, before you leave the squadron, before you leave your office, and then hit the ground running and eat that frog when you go to the office the next day. And come in with that step. Start with service, build that rapport, ask how you could potentially help them. And if you have a value proposition, deliver it to them. And don't fly by the seat of your pants. We need to do a little bit more due diligence on our prospects more than ever. Go on LinkedIn, learn about them, Google them, go to the company's press releases, go a little bit above and beyond and say, okay, how can I provide my value today? And lead with that. Lead with service. And that'll distract you once again from the embarrassment or the reluctance that you may have in delivering those calls. Because they shouldn't be cold calls. They should be bold calls. Confidence, because you're prepared, leading with service and value. Then you're not flying by the seat of your pants. So turn your cold call into a bold call. Don't do as I see on social media and on the phones the phone calls that I'm getting, where I had a supply logistics company call me up out of Ohio. I answered the phone, which probably got me on 10,000 other lists, but I thought it might have been a company. I have a lot of companies that call, not as much now with the virus, but he's like, hey, so-and-so from such and such logistics. Do you ship product here? I said, do you know what I do? I'm just looking at a list here. I'm just making some calls today, going through my list. I said, listen, dude, you want some free coaching? People are distracted more than ever, and they're more impatient than ever, and they're more pissed off than ever, and they're not making more money than ever. Know who you're calling. Hey, Waldo, I was on your website. I see you're a leadership speaker and executive coach, but you have products to ship. We were a supply chain logistics company. I bet you could use a really great deal on shipping cases of books or whatever, right? Who knows? But don't call blindly. And we see it happening. And you see the LinkedIn connections, people trying to sell you, building the relationship when they haven't planted the seed or tended to the garden. And now they're asking for the damn sale. I'm always open to value. If you can help me, great. But if you want me to invest and click and learn about your value proposition, marinate the steak of the relationship. Put in more time more than ever. And people will buy if you provide value, as long as it's relevant to what's going on in the world, in their squadron, in their business for that day, because it's going to change every day for the most part. Lord knows in this environment that we're in.
Oh, I got a bunch of questions, so we're going to take them as we can. Similar to what we just talked about, this idea, you talk about mindset, heart set, but this inner state to conquer fears. You've done it. You sat in a cockpit when you've had claustrophobia. You have.
Yeah.
You've flown missions when you've had claustrophobia. So how does one conquer these fears? Because right now there's a lot of people that are afraid. Let's face it.
So I have a saying, your passion has to be greater than your fear. Your passion has to be greater than your fear. And your passion stems from what we talked about in the beginning. Who you're serving, who needs you, the thrill of the win, the excitement of what you do, the fact that you're challenged today more than ever. The challenge, the choices that we make, that's a challenge every single day. And so to distract yourself from that fear, and once again, you got to really find what's inside of you to focus on and take that action. But when you're looking at conquering those fears every day, number one, you have to just acknowledge first and foremost that you're afraid. Hey, business is down, income's not coming in. You've got to get down to the brutal facts, the truth of the matter, and not distort your mindset into thinking that it's not real. And you just have to say, this is reality. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to complain, like I said, for 5 minutes about it. And I'm going to acknowledge my fear, number one. And then I'm going to take incremental steps, small incremental steps to dissipate that fear and elevate my mindset, heart set, and skill set to get above the noise of fear. What skill am I picking up? What am I doing to learn to be a better cold caller or a value proposition? How am I refining my website? Who is on my team who I could call, who can inspire me when the contingency plan of fear, when the missile does come? Hey, I got a wingman. I know I could call Joe or Mike or Lisa or Sabrina. Boom, I got that. And so you're building up all these courage mongers and these skill sets who will help you contingency plan this potential if you have that panic attack, okay? Now, it's also about your health and fitness as well. When I flew, we always had something called crew rest. You needed 12 hours of crew rest. When you landed, you needed that crew rest. People knew, the military knew that you needed to relax. You needed to refuel your jet, so to speak. Hitting the gym, eating healthy were all things that we did as high-performing teams to build up that confidence and resilience and building up our battle plan. And so a lot of us who are on the phone today may not be getting the sleep. They may be eating like garbage, and I'm guilty of it to a degree as well. I have my good days and bad days, but we need more discipline than ever. You just can't say I'm going to overcome my fears and then not get sleep, talk negatively, watch the news, and treat yourself like garbage. It will impact you from the inside out. And so monitor that, stay more disciplined than ever on that, and it'll help you stay resilient as well. So all these things do what I call elevate your courage mindset. And so here's an analogy for you. If you think of a song that you don't like, let's call it rap music, okay? Let's call it some really punky, bad rap music with curses in it or whatever. Let's picture some bad rap going on. You hear the music playing, okay? Now think of the song of your life that you really like. When you crank that music out, man, you love it. It puts you in a different state and you love it. Let's call it the Bee Gees for some, or maybe Zeppelin for others, or Flock of Seagulls for you, Rod. I don't know what you like. And so whatever that song is, I want you to put that song of music on. Now, if you have the bad song playing, the negativity music of fear playing, and then you crank up another speaker system 10 times louder than that song of fear, and you crank out the Bee Gees, right? Jive Talk and whatever, you can't hear the song of negativity, can you? It's still going on. It's still there. The frequency is there, but it's drowned out by the music of positivity, by your health and fitness, by your relationships, by the fact that you prepared, that you have more skill sets, that you have people on your team, and it keeps elevating and elevating. And you're building up that confidence and that courage that's going to wash out the fear, meaning the fear may never go away. It's always going to be there. Your job is to drown it out. What happens is negative self-talk lowers the sound of music. Negative relationships, you drag you down. The music gets lower. Bad health and fitness. No sleep. You lost a couple sales, right? Boom. Suddenly, sound of fear, the music of fear is going to take over. It's never going to go away. It's a scar. It's there. Distract yourself by drowning it out, doing the hard work. Courageous people have the hard work. They put in the time. And so if you're lacking the confidence, do the hard work. Small little victories. One little green smoothie, one workout, one cold call, one conversation, one service-minded discussion, and then get your ass out of bed and be willing to get shot at. The more you're used to being in that environment of fear, the more courageous you'll be. My first combat missions, I was scared to death, knees shaking, cotton mouth. By the time I did 10 or 20 of them, by the time I was leading the folks, been there, done that. I've been through this fear. I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so you have to be willing to step out of the comfort zone. And here's the ultimate reason why. On the opposite side of fear is growth. This chaos is content for our future. All these things that you're going through are building your character, building your confidence and courage. Don't let this go to waste. Tap into this fear. Find out what it is that you're fighting for. Regroup, rethink, marinate on it. Let it fill you up with heat and say, wow, what do I need to think of? And then get into these discussions. Go on these calls. Talk to other folks. Don't lock yourself into the hangar and fly solo. When you have these conversations, that's when new ideas stem up. That's why I was saying innovation starts with conversation. 1 + 1 = 11. Now, you get a couple of like-minded people who are hardworking, have integrity and core values like you, maybe with different skill sets, those masterminds, informal ones. That's when new ideas pop up. That's why I think you should start getting on a call maybe once a week or a couple times a week with different people. If you're a coach, get some coaching. And here's another saying for you, and we'll ask another question. Make your friends your mentors and your mentors your friends. And that's why you're my friend, Rod. You're my mentor as well, and I hope I'm one for you. And so important context when you're thinking about those relationships, when you're investing your time and who you're going to talk to or get on a podcast with or a Zoom leadership call.
I know your time is valuable, Waldo, so we'll just take one more question. I got a bunch. By the way, there are people offering you contacts at Siemens. I don't think you need them, but...
Any place. If they could use a seminar or leadership like this that's customized, yourwingman.com.
Let me challenge, before we get the last question with Waldo, I'll challenge you all. Look, many of you on this call are affiliated with national organizations. You are. And those organizations, think about it. Let's say you're with Lead Associates and you call up Jeff, your CEO, and you tell Jeff, look, I just got off the phone with this amazing speaker. We need to have him speak to our group virtually. Doesn't matter. Now we need it. Your SVN, you called Kevin and said, Kevin, we need to have Waldo speak for us. So I'm sharing with you, Waldo did this as a favor for me. That's what it was. But he's available to talk to your groups as well, and he should. And you all, I would ask you all, talk about the referral capital we have here. Tell your leaders, we need to have this guy talk to everybody because his message is right on point, especially now more than ever before. So, Waldo, before we let you go, someone did ask, no doubt when you were in the military, you had a flight plan, right? A daily flight plan.
Right.
When you're attacking the day-to-day, and we talk about attacking the day, winning the day, is there a suggested flight plan for the day?
So I have a saying, wingmen never wing it. And you can't lead by the seat of your pants or self by the seat of your pants. You have to have a plan. Now, everybody's plan is a little bit different, but there are certain standards of excellence that we all should apply. And by the way, every fighter squadron has standards. You don't comply with those standards, you're out. High standards. And look at them once again, look at the people in your life who are setting those standards on. Are you establishing those standards of yourself? So what I try to do is before I leave the office every single day, I have a plan for the next day. What are my must-dos, right? I have a little thing. I'll show it to you. My green smoothie spilt on it, so it's I dried it up. But I take a piece of paper and I put a little X, right? And I scribbled it down. And these are my most important, next important, personal important, and then non-personal important. So it says here, Siemens came referral from clients. You can see the word Siemens there. That was my thing. And I talked to my buddy Josh and I made that happen. Then it said coaching. I want to do more coaching. I'm changing my website to do a little more coaching. I'm doing some pay-per-click social media, North Nevada Contracts Association contract, and another contract. So those are the things I need to get done. That's important. And so when I hit the ground running that day, accomplishing these items, which is, I like this because it's non-techie, it's there in front of me. I just look at it. We don't need to use digital everything. You don't need to put that in Salesforce to make things happen, right? So I get it together the day before, and then I hit the ground running, executing on that plan. I don't go into my cockpit, the office, saying, okay, what am I going to do today? What's my flight plan? What's my mission? No. Have it set the day before, and then start doing those most important ones first that are going to leverage your day and your business. The One Thing is a great book if you haven't read it. It's called The One Thing. I love it. It's the thing that you need to do in your personal and professional life that will make a difference for everything else. That leverage point. My book, Never Fly Solo, was a huge leverage point for me. I'm working on my next one. And so eat that frog first, do those important items first, and then chunk your day. Be disciplined with it. I'm going to do these things for a half hour, 45 minutes, and then I'm going to take a little break, a breather, and then I'm going to execute on these others. Boom, and I'm going to execute on them. And I am not good at this. Where's my phone again? I put this on Do Not Disturb, but we got to shut the phone off, even close out Outlook or iMail, and then just start staying focused on that target. When we're flying in the F-16 and we have a target that must be attacked and tracked, we have a radar that's sweeping and we go single target track on it. We have a radar going like this, scanning, and then we go, boom, we put all the energy in that one thing. It's not letting you go. That radar is locked on you. You can't see anything else, but it's single target tracking on you. I'm not going to drop this radar contact. And that's what we need to do when we're executing on business protocols and items, even on a client call. It's all about you. I'm single target tracking you. Team is forward on the little right joystick. Boom. And then what you do is after you kill that enemy or they're no longer a factor, you unlock it and then scan your jet again. Or you do the next nearest threat. You have the nearest threat and then the next nearest threat. And you start assessing. But this is a simple way to do it. So chunk your day. Break it up into manageable chunks of time, and then don't forget also to go out and take a breather. It's a beautiful day out. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Go outside, take a little walk, 10 minutes, do a little workout. You've got to release your muscle. Your muscle can't grow unless there's blood in it. You got to deflex your muscle and let the creativity come in. And you can't get creative, in my opinion, when you're in the zone, when you're in combat. You got to get outside, get creative in the shower, get creative walking around, go for a nice walk, come up with ideas, leverage technology, write some notes down, and that'll also come up with some unique ways to grow your business and build your business. But you can't do it while you're in combat mode in your office, okay? Those are just some ideas on executing your business flight plan, and sometimes they come from the places where you least expect them. They mean even having a conversation or that mastermind call where you're like, oh man, I could be doing all this other stuff, calling these other people, but let me invest in this 30 or 60-minute call. And you're like, wow, I invested, I deflexed my business muscle, got into relationship muscle and networking muscle, and marinated that and come up with some ideas. Anyway, some points to ponder. Don't wing it.
Okay, listen what we're going to do, and everyone please listen up. I want you, first of all, I know you're taking notes because I see the notes there. Waldo, you're getting so many accolades. Actually, there's some referrals for you in the notes. Some people are already going to your website and seeing how to book you, which is awesome.
Wow.
I'm going to ask you all to take one thing in your notes. Let's do this. Take these words down. Yourwingman.com. Your Y-O-U-R, wing, W-I-N-G, man, M-A-N. Yourwingman.com. That's how you get more of Waldo. He has speaking up there. He has courses up there. He has his books there. He has programs there for you to continue getting more of Waldo. I preach that you do, in fact, continue with Waldo. I am not going to share with you that I am Show. I am absolutely blessed that I get to talk to Waldo in many ways. And it's just an awesome, as you say, mentor-friend relationship. If you don't know about the Massimo Group, check us out at massimogroup.com. Or for those entrepreneurs who know about us, we opened a new division last week at Massimo, MASSIMO.coach. Look, I know there's a lot of questions there, but Waldo does have a lot of webinars today. That's doing us a favor. So thank you, Waldo. Yourwingman.com. Waldo, I'll leave you with one comment that I just read. Where is it quickly? I am speechless. This is from God. This is totally helpful. Thank you, Colonel Waldman. So, Waldo, your continued service. Thank you so much.
Hey, before I forget, if everybody wants to get a download of my book, Never Fly Solo, it's $20 on Audible, but I'll give it to you guys for free. You'll also get 5 ACE videos. I have a program called ACE. It's a 52-week video program. If you go to my website and email me at info@yourwingman.com, I'll give you a discount code if you guys want to get that video, 52 videos. But also, if you go to yourwingman.com/NFS, like Never Fly Solo, put your email address and you'll also get the book that way. And if I'm on LinkedIn, Waldo Waldman, Instagram, social media, whatever, email info@yourwingman.com. If I can help you in any other way as well. Listen, if you have somebody, by the way, who's having an issue right now, can't break through their barriers and having some fear issues, email me. I'd be happy to have a 10, 15-minute conversation with them, just chat with them. If there's anything I could do, please let me know. I love doing this. And Rod, you're a good friend and you give to a lot of people too. You've built a relationship with me, and we've invested. And so there's a time to give with honor and there's a time to take with honor. I'm thankful that we have that great relationship, Rod. You're a wonderful human being and a great friend. And like I said in the beginning, I'm proud to be your wingman, and I wish everyone blue skies, and let's get through this combat mission together and enjoy the celebration that will happen afterwards.
So for everyone right now, thank you so much. Keep up, push it up, keep on moving forward, and let's move forward together. So until next time, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Group. I hope to talk to you soon. You all take care. Bye-bye.
God bless.
I want to thank you for listening to this version of the Massimo Show. And please, please go out and share this with your friends, your colleagues. Heck, share it with your dog. Just share it. And more importantly, just give me some feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. We all grow from understanding what our audience wants to hear. So until next time, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Show. Hi, this is Rod Santomassimo, president and founder of the Massimo Group. And did you know that for over the past 11 plus years, we've worked with thousands of independent contractors, solopreneurs, and small business owners just like you in repositioning their and/or their team's efforts so they can build the personal, professional practice they've always dreamed of. We provide coaching programs for all levels of experience, earnings, and yes, success. So if you're finally ready to get off that transaction treadmill and chasing deals that are growing nowhere and start building the personal, professional business and life consisting of greater wealth and more time, well, check us out at Massimo.coach. That's Massimo.coach.